These past few weeks on the PGA Tour were filled with action in two beloved tournaments, the Arnold Palmer Invitational and the Players' Championships. There were surprising leaderboards and cuts, but what exactly happened? Welcome to Penn State Sports Night, PGA Tour edition. I'm Ashley Mascaro, and I'm alongside Amanda Vogt. We are here to break down all the golf action happening in the fairway, along with previewing one of the biggest tournaments of the year, the Masters. So Amanda, 2 weekends ago was the Arnold Palmer Invitational down in Orlando, Florida. What happened?
Yeah, Bay Hill is where the Arnold Palmer Invitational was held this year, and it was the first of two designated events played back-to-back, and that means the fields were star-studded. It's something the PGA Tour has done to kind of increase the purses for those events to make the stars wanting to come play, and it was a great event. Bay Hill had its challenges. You saw Jon Rahm, who was world number one at the time, go really low in round one, but rounds 2 through 4, not so hot for Rahm. He even said how difficult it was playing. Bay Hill, the winds kept changing every day, and just the conditions of a Florida golf course differ from what the stars were used to in California for that portion of the season. But we see by round 4, we have Kurt Kitayama leading the pack in the last grouping of the day. But towards down the stretch, he kind of suffered. He had a triple bogey on hole number 9, which put him far back down the leaderboard a little bit going into his last 9 holes. And in those last 5, tuning in, you saw so many players at the top. Rory McIlroy, Harris English, Jordan Spieth, all making a push. And it kind of kept Kitayama on his toes there for a little bit. And he had a key birdie on hole 17, which proved very pivotal for him because 9 under was the mark that he won at. He shot even par regardless of the triple on 9. He kept his composure, and he was able to walk out with a victory. But overall, it was a great event. And Kurt Kitayama, he's not a star of the PGA Tour. You don't think of him when you think of just a general analogy of what the PGA Tour looks like. He beat out the stars at Bay Hill, and he showed up, and he took home the Arnold Palmer red cardigan as well as the trophy.
Now, honestly, I have never heard of Kurt Kitayama until I saw that he won the Arnold Palmer Invitational. I expected, like you said, Jordan Spieth, Harris English, Rory McIlroy, they were all doing really well, and I expected one of them to come out with the victory. But I'm super, super happy for Kurt. He really deserves it, and he played really well. Definitely the conditions in Florida compared to California, not even a contest. It's much more difficult. Now, especially because everyone respects Arnold Palmer as a golfer, this tournament must have been so memorable for everybody. And I'm really glad that they all, it seemed most of them played well, and they really were interested in being there. And this is just one of the events that you think of, on the PGA Tour, oh, when's the Arnold Palmer Invitational? You think of that. So I'm really glad that someone new came up and won in honor of Arnold Palmer. Now, let's move over to this past weekend, which was the Players' Championship. It seems to me they treat the Players' Championship almost like it's one of the 4 major events of the year. They're oh, you won this many Masters and this many Players' Championships. It's a big deal. So let's get into that. What are some of the big highlights from this past weekend?
Yeah, no doubt the Players' Championship is one of those big tournaments played at TPC Sawgrass, with the most iconic hole being the Island Green on 17. And 58 shots this time around went into the water, and only 3 aces. So pretty crazy, always drama-filled, and the big crowds around always draw the most attention. It's such a fun environment for that hole. But overall, the course is so challenging yet so rewarding. And this group right here, whoever draws up these groupings must have had a lot of fun putting the top 3 players in the world in Jon Rahm, Scottie Scheffler, and Rory McIlroy, and basically said, go out and compete. And one of them was able to walk away with the win, but Jon Rahm had to withdraw going into the second round because of illness. Rory McIlroy didn't look like himself there and missed the cut, going 5 over the par. The cut was +2, and someone who had an interesting tail making the cut was Jordan Spieth, who on round 2 was hitting a shot that looked like it was going to slice into the water, but luckily ricocheted off a fan, hits into the fairway. He hits his second shot into the par 5, and he was short of the green and chips in for an eagle to put him at even par, safely within the cut line. And he kind of had a good moving day, brought himself up the leaderboard a little bit, but it was Scottie Scheffler who walked away with the win. He had the golden swing. He is your 2023 Players' Championship champion, and he is only the third player to hold the Players' Championship title and the Masters title at the same time. Those other two players, Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus. So very prestigious and for Scottie Scheffler, but that's what Scotty's been doing, impressing everyone. He won the Phoenix Waste Management Open a few weeks ago out in Arizona for back-to-back times, and has just been really consistent, and this victory had him regain his world #1 spot. So it was overall just a great event.
Yeah, I mean, Scottie Scheffler is on the top of his game. I mean, he is earning that #1 spot, even if he's not like currently there or was it like a week ago or whatever. He's getting back up there. Like, he's doing phenomenal. Jon Rahm and Rory McIlroy, like McIlroy's had like a rough year. Like, he came off like at the end of the year last year, he was doing really well, and then like he came in, he was doing like hot at first, and then he kind of just like gone south. Like, I'm not sure what's up with him. I mean, missing the cut at the Players, it's obviously not good. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with him. Jon Rahm, I feel bad for him because, of course, he was the world #1 player, and then you get sick. Like, that must put a real dent in the rankings. So I wonder how much he's going to move down, and if Scheffler's just going to move up to the #1 again. Like, who knows what's going to happen. And that fan who saved Jordan Spieth's ball, I mean, I can't imagine how happy Spieth was. He made the cut because of that. And that just proves you can make a difference in someone's life, even by doing something that little. I mean, it was crazy. Like, I don't know if that, like, hurt. I mean, I'm sure it did. I mean, it's a fast, little, tiny, like, ball just flying at you. Yeah. Like, that's insane. But that's awesome for Spieth. The other players, like Scheffler and the other top members in the field, all did really well as well. The Players, like you said, is a big game. So now they go from bigger games and then they go to the biggest game of them all, the Masters. So the Masters is April 6th to April 9th. What are some predictions for the Masters? Who do you think is going to be on the top? Who do you think is not going to make the cut this time? What are we thinking?
Yeah, well, Augusta, Georgia, the Masters, nothing like it out there. And it's a little over 3 weeks out, but they still have some events to play. But, I mean, Scottie Scheffler's on a tear. I mean, he's your reigning champion. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you see him at the top of the leaderboard again, because he's just played that consistently this time around. And he's great on a Saturday. He's great on moving day. And Sunday, he has the capability to close it out. And, I mean, we've seen Rory McIlroy go through his ups and downs, but that's kind of just who he is as a player, just at least as of late. When he's good, when he's locked in, lights out, no one's stopping him. That's what propelled him to win the FedEx Cup Championship to conclude the 2022 season. But now you see, like, he was at the top of the leaderboard at the Arnold Palmer Invitational and then missed a cut in the following week. That's because when McIlroy gets down, I feel like those mistakes start compounding and he can't really pull himself out. I mean, it's all about a mindset thing. Golf itself is a mindset thing. You can't really feel bad when the player does bad or something. Sometimes it just doesn't go their way, and they can't really pull themselves out of that rut. And so for Rory to win, it would complete the career Grand Slam. That would be great. If Scottie wins, that would be great. You have other players like Spieth, who's been on a surge. Justin Thomas has not been doing so hot these past couple of weeks in Florida, but who knows? He might pick it up, always working hard behind the scenes with his game, and his father, Mike Thomas, the swing coach. He could come out with something special at Augusta. Augusta is just one of those places where you're in the moment for that, and it's honestly whoever prepares the most, whoever just doesn't get down on themselves early, and who can ever pull away from the pack on a Saturday and especially a Sunday will walk away with that trophy and that green jacket. And aside from the Masters in general, there are just a couple of players who haven't played that well recently, who are, I think, maybe not at the Masters, maybe not at Augusta National, but just in general could find themselves closer to the winner's circle and maybe take home a trophy in 2023. And these two players who did well this week at the Players' Championship is Ricky Fowler and Jason Day. Ricky, you might know him from all of his commercials, because sometimes you'll watch a broadcast, you'll see him more times during the commercial breaks than actually hitting his shots. But that was different this weekend because he did finish 7 under. It was 10 shots off Scottie's lead, but it's different than what we've seen from Ricky in weeks past. He's starting to kind of go on the upslope and back to where he was in years past, and I think he can finally maybe get back to the winner's circle. I'm sure it's what golf fans would love. Everybody is so attached to Ricky Fowler for someone who hasn't been playing that great as of late. And Jason Day, also another one of those players who has been in the winner's circle years back. He also played really well at the Players and has already had 5 top 10s in 2023. And so if he can keep that momentum going, there's no reason why they can't be in the mix come Sunday at Augusta National or any other tournament the rest of the way.
No, I agree. I mean, Ricky Fowler and Jason Day, they have been doing so poor for so long that I kind of forgot about them. And then they did really well this past weekend. And I was just like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, they weren't Scotty Scheffler position or in like 10 under or anything like that, the double digits. But they did well, especially for missing the cut so many times previously or going very low, like 1 under par, 2 under par, like those types of numbers. Now, I think with the Masters, it's definitely good. Like you said, you have to go in with confidence. So maybe Rory McIlroy, like he'll get some of his confidence back and he can go in being like, I've played here so many more times than other players. I can do this. Like, hopefully that there's just players in general have that mindset because this is a tough golf course. It's known to be one of the toughest. So if you have that mindset, like you can do this in the experience, I definitely think it will help. My prediction personally, I think Jordan Spieth is going to come back and do really well in this tournament because every single year, not every single year, but the past 2 years on Easter Day, whatever tournament it has been, he has won. And the Masters ends on Easter Day this year. So I'm wondering, is this third time's a charm? Like, is that going to happen? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. That's all we have for this edition of Penn State Sports Night. Stay tuned in a couple of weeks where we will have recaps of the Masters and other tournaments on the tour. For Amanda Vogt, I'm Ashley Mascaro. Have a wonderful night.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night. We hope you liked that segment.
And we're sure there's other Penn State Sports Night segments that you are going to love as well. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content.
And check us out on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes clips and pics. Follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action.
For all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.